Hello everyone and welcome back to Aberrant FM with me Jake, and today we are going to be doing another Newcastle United experiment, this time with Mauricio Pochettino as the manager. He's going to be here, he's got a contract that lasts until 2024 which he will leave at the end of, so that gives us a 5-year period to see how well he does. Now, what I want to see is we're going to do a couple of comparisons. We're going to do a few videos of this style. We're going to do one with Pochettino. We're going to do one where we go back with Steve Bruce, one with Rafa Benitez, and one with Julian Nagelsmann. We're going to do 5 years in each, and we're going to look at how they have done in their time and compare what they have achieved in that time. So in this first episode with Pochettino, we're going to do the whole 5 years. It's going to be a slightly longer video, just so we can get a good idea of what our comparison is. We'll do Steve Bruce next to sort of show, to see if Newcastle would be better off with Pochettino, or as some journalists in the UK are stating, if we'd be better off with Bruce. But in this first episode, we're focusing on Pochettino. We're going to see what players he brings in the first season, and then we're just going to do season by season. We're not going to do January stops or anything. We're going to do season by season, just to see how well Mauricio Pochettino has done as Newcastle United manager. Because I have done here, if I go to Pochettino and then go to his club contract, he leaves at the end of his contract, which ends in 5 years. So that's the day we're going to end on, the day he's about to leave. Then we'll have a really good idea as to how well he's done as manager. And then we've got a good comparison point for the future videos. So what I'm going to do is now, we're just going to go to the end of the first season and see where Pochettino takes Newcastle. Alright, see you in a bit. Right, welcome back. We are now about to look at the first season of the Premier League with Newcastle United and Mauricio Pochettino, and they finished 11th. They had a rough end to the season. Let's have a look at past positions. Ooh, they had a good start, and then was sort of falling for quite some time, quite low down. They recovered a bit. Okay. That's probably fair. That's probably where the squad is normally. So let's click on them. Anything we see interestingly at the start? A few different names to what you'd expect in that starting 11. Moussa Dembele popping up as the big one. And let's have a look at their transfer history. So in this first season, actually let's do it by date. So most recently, in the January, they signed Moussa Dembele. Obviously a very good striker. How's he done? 8 in 12 starts. That's quite good. That's a really, really good start. 100 grand a week, pretty solid wage. James Gardner from Manchester United. Very good sort of deep line playmaker. I saw he played centre back for a couple of games as well. Also Gerard Deulofeu from Watford. Pacey direct winger. Very interesting signing there. And then that is it from them. Let's have a look at players they've sold. Gale, Hayden, Sterry. That's it. Gale was alone. Right, so let's have a look a bit more in depth then. So, the sort of team they were playing in that last game of the season is an interesting one. Both Longstaffs playing together. Regan Thompson's came through as the key youth prospect. Let's look at some of the games. So, they managed to beat Arsenal on the first game of the season. Any other significant results there? 3-0 over Leicester, quite a big result. They haven't had too many good results against. They beat Arsenal twice, 3-2. They beat Leicester again, 3-0, both games. Interesting. And yeah, that's sort of, as you'd expect, sort of mid-table season. Nothing too crazy. The squad's not looking very different at this point. Any landmarks been achieved? Youth category lowered. It's not the greatest. Pochettino still obviously leaving at the end of his contract. Okay. What we're going to do now is just go straight to the start of the next season. I don't think there's any point wasting time. Right, we're back. Now, I'm just going to tell you something interesting that happened during this. Mauricio Pochettino managed to get himself sacked. So I reinstated him as Newcastle's manager. I don't know how he managed to get himself sacked, but he did. Looking at the 11, we can already see a lot's changed since the end of last season. But yeah, I thought I'd go. That's why this is here. Hopefully, this doesn't happen again. They finished 14th. Yeah, it hasn't gone very well for old Poch so far. Yeah. We'll look at the transfers. We'll look at the transfer history. Right. So this was last season. This is what they did. This season, we'll go highest value first. Oh, the signed Rulli from Montpellier for £51 million. That's a lot for a goalkeeper. They signed Donny van der Beek. He's very good. Very, very good. For 35. Brandon Williams from Manchester United. Yeah, that seems like a pretty decent signing. 34. Connor Cody, an interesting one. He's quite good in this game, so I can see why. He's wanted by West Ham. I wonder if they'll get the money back for that. Marcus Alonso, this is curious. £30 million for this kind of player seems okay, but he's 30. I don't think I'd pay that for a player of his age. Gabriel Barbosa, though, for 23 million could be a very good deal if he hadn't have only scored 2 games. Where did he play? Oh, it doesn't tell me. Didn't tell me where he played all season. That's strange. Rob Holding for 16 million as an English player. That's not too bad, but he is listed for the same price they bought him. Okay, Ruben Loftus-Cheek for 15 million. That's a good backup player for that kind of price. You've got Celik, the right back. Not a bad deal there. Actually, quite a good deal, honestly, for 10 million. Taiwo Awoniyi from Liverpool. I mean, I guess. He seems okay. He's very quick. Fede San Emeterio. He seems pretty decent as a ball-winning midfielder. Yeah, I can see that being a decent player. Paul Tomlinson from West Ham, a youth player. He's very good at 17. Wow. He is very, very good. He's very short, though. Mario Vucevic. Yeah, wow, he's good. The age and the price, okay. Toby Omol from Arsenal on a free. That's an under-23 signing. Scott McTominay on loan. Dejan Kulusevski on loan, good player. And Zappacosta on loan, decent cover. They sold Yedlin, Ritchie, Kraft, Dummett, Saive, Clark, Muto, Elliott, Manquillo, and then a load of others. That doesn't really matter. Joe Linton, Shart, and Lazar went out on loan. Fede also went back on loan to FC Seoul. Okay, let's go back and look at the league performance. If we go click the Premier League, none of the players really doing anything special. Yeah, who got the highest average rating? Saint Maximin played nearly every game. 11 goals, quite good. In terms of goals, Dembele, Maximin, Van der Beek, Kulusevski. Okay, Longstaff had a good year. Who's he wanted by? Tottenham. Very interesting. Right, let's see. We're going to move on again another year. Go see if Pochettino can manage to not get himself sacked and maybe have a bit better a season. Right, be back soon. Right, we're back again. Let's get to the Premier League page and see where Newcastle United managed to finish. And they finished in 6th, which at this point gets them European Conference League. Right, I believe that'll depend on the result of the FA Cup final. So let's see who's in that. The Emirates FA Cup. The final is between Arsenal and Liverpool. And Arsenal are below. So if Liverpool win, Newcastle will get Europa League. If Arsenal win, it will be still the Conference League. So let's actually move. What day is this? What day is this? Why doesn't it just tell me on there? Schedule. It's the 21st. We will very, very quickly make our way to the 21st. But yeah, 6th. That is a huge improvement. An interesting article there. Foden should leave Manchester City for big money Newcastle deal, says Connor Cody. Right, now let's see. We actually need to go to the next day because I'm very smart. And then Poch got Manager of the Year, I think I just saw there. So, Arteta leads Arsenal to glory. I think that means Newcastle did not get Europa League. No, they got Conference League. Okay, but that is still European football. How is the? Oh, the team has changed a bit again. But Pochettino, after I had to reinstate him as manager after getting sacked, has got himself Manager of the Year. So that is a big, big deal. This has all changed, and all this has changed. So let's go to the transfer history before we go into the schedule and stuff. So big deals. Starting off, Diego Dalot from Manchester United. Very good fullback in this game. Played nearly every game for them. David Neres came in from Bayern Munich, the former Ajax man. He's played pretty much every game as well, apart from 8. Having a 7.08 average rating, that's not bad. Scott McTominay joined on a permanent after his loan. Played the majority of games, looks good. Callum Chambers came in to go alongside Rob Holding, and that transfer went equally as well, by the looks of it. Transfers to by request. Daniel Rugani, the former Juventus centre-back, has came in, has played a handful of games. Was that in January? No, it wasn't. Interesting. Jack O'Connell came in. Really, really good centre-back in this game, Jack O'Connell. But he is listed, so that didn't go very well either. Valentin Antov, 21-year-old centre-back, played nearly every game again. It's very, very good. Terry Duncan from Everton. This is a youth player. Wow. Very quick. This kid could be really good. We'll have to keep an eye out on him. Kingsley Chiddy from Chelsea. Again, 16. He's going to be good. And then you've got Kubo from Real Madrid on loan and Thomas Monnier from Manchester United on loan. On the out, the major outs include John Joe Shelby, Florian Lejeune, Carl Darlow, Dylan Stevenson, who's a youth player, and that is it. Loans include Fabian Sharp, Rob Holding, Zeki Celik, and Taiwo Awonyi. How did that young player that they signed from Chelsea do? What was his name? Is it Toby Amol? No, that's a different one. Oh, this is going to bug me if I can't find who it was. Wait, what I can do is, and not be silly, is go back a year and find. There was Paul Tomlinson from West Ham. He's developing very nicely. He's grew an inch as well, which is useful. And the other one was. Or was I thinking it was Chelsea and it was actually West Ham? I think that's. Yeah, I was. Okay. But a very good season finishing 6th. That's European football next year. This is good progress. So from what we've seen, a first season or two could be quite shaky from Pochettino. So let's have a look through the schedule to see what sort of results they got. So an opening day defeat to Liverpool, followed by an incredible early season run. Even if you include the loss against Manchester United, an incredible run, beating Chelsea in there, who eventually went on to win the league. Then had a rough month of November playing 3 big teams. A really good month in December, beating all but West Ham in the league, losing to Chelsea in the quarterfinals. They went out in the 3rd round of the Cup, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. They beat Manchester United. They beat Liverpool. Who else have they beaten? And they beat Chelsea on the final day. And Chelsea still won the league. Yeah. Chelsea still won the league, even though losing twice to Newcastle. Not a huge point total. 8 losses in there. Very interesting. Liverpool beating them twice, but Liverpool drew 12 games, losing 3, but they drew 12. Newcastle, they lost 12 was their problem. They only drew 2 all season, which is the fewest in the league. But they had a really, really good year. Anyone jump up on here? Dribbles per 90, St. Maximin. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by that one. Scott McTominay got the most distance covered with 19 work rate and 18 stamina. That is not surprising. Goals, did any Newcastle player really break into this? Moussa Dembele with 10. Now, if we very quickly go to the Newcastle squad and look at the average ratings, the key man who played a lot of games was St. Maximin, and also Neres as well was up there. Goals came from Moussa Dembele, Gabriel Barbosa mostly. Assists came from Donny van der Beek, 12 assists. Here's Matty Longstaff. Wow, Matty Longstaff is incredibly good. He's wanted by Liverpool. We could see Matty Longstaff gone. We could see Matty Longstaff gone next season. I hope not. I hope Newcastle can keep hold of him. The youth facilities and training facilities have gone to state of the art as well, so that's a big deal. Right, that is a solid year. We will come back in 12 months' time. Right, we're back at the penultimate season. Let's see where Newcastle finished. Ooh. Not as good as last season, but they've somehow qualified for the Europa League. Let's see, I guess, how they managed that. Pochettino hasn't decided to leave this time. In the process of a board takeover, Yasser al-Rumayyan scales down his funding just 4 years in to being the owner, or one of the owners, of Newcastle United. There's some big names in this team as well. So let's go first to see. Actually, no, we'll go transfers. Makes the most sense. So they spent 91 million on Phil Foden. Yeah. Okay, and he played very well. 9 goals and 14 assists. That's pretty special. 91 million. Total of 389 million was spent. Rafael Leao came in and scored 12 goals in 38, respectable. For 76, you probably want more though. Dennis Zakaria, one of the best sort of box-to-box midfielders in the game this year, has came in for 53 million, probably reasonable for his ability. Nicolas Soule, world-class centre-back, came in, played a good chunk of games for them for 31. Oh, I haven't even ordered this correctly, but we'll keep going. Bernd Leno in goal, great goalkeeper. They conceded a lot of goals this season though, Newcastle. A lot of goals. Alex Telles at left back, probably one of the best left backs in world football at this point. Very expensive player for a 30-year-old. Toby Alderweireld for 13 million seems expensive, but I can understand it. Inexperienced, high quality centre back. Lewis Williams, wow, from West Brom, what a player. What a player. I think he's better there, or maybe even there, than he is as a striker, but what a player. Calvin Phillips from Leeds, great signing, good sort of box-to-box player. Lionel Miranda, that's a bizarre signing. I was expecting a regen, that's a bizarre signing. Julian East, who is a regen, who is very good. He's going to be very good. For some reason, he's got 12 tackling. I sort of like it, though. What a player. Right, on the outs. Well, there's a big one. There's a very, very big one. Matty Longstaff to Liverpool, £101 million for now England player Matty Longstaff. He's out injured, so he's not in the current squad, but wow. That's not very nice as a Newcastle fan, but here we are. Joe Linton, they managed to recoup almost all the money for. He's played very well for Aston Villa that season. Valentin Antov, who they paid 18 million for, they made a small profit on. Here he is again. Rugani went out. Alonso, Chambers, lots of players they've brought in recently. Shah's made his way back to Basel in Switzerland. Yeah, an interesting one. An interesting one indeed. Yeah. So let's have a look at the schedule and see how they ended up how they ended up getting themselves Europa League football. So a very busy start. Look at all those games. You can understand why it's been a tough season this year. They got knocked out in the EFL Cup quarter-final. It's hard to sort of pay attention to what they won. They beat Man City in the Cup, which is interesting. They won on away goals in the first knockout round against AEK. Oh, sorry, after extra time. They then beat Levski Sofia in the second knockout round. They then beat Young Boys in the quarter-finals. I think you can see where this might be going. They then beat Frankfurt in the semi-final, and in the final, Newcastle United beat Athletic Club Bilbao for their first European trophy since the Fairs Cup at the Rako Mitic Arena, which I think is in Serbia. I mean, what a result, I guess. Wow. The 1-0 Musa Dembele with the goal. Yeah, in Serbia, Rako Mitic, the Crvena Zvezda stadium. Wow. Adam Wilson came on in that game, interestingly, a youth prospect from Newcastle there. This is the 11 that won Newcastle game. And Toby Alderweireld got a 9.9. 9.9 at centre-back. That is one of the highest ratings I've ever seen a centre-back get. It's from Toby Alderweireld in the final of Newcastle's first European competition in many, many years. Now, the scaled back funding and the process of board takeover is very, very interesting. Is that going to massively impact how well Newcastle can do under Pochettino, who is back at the club? I do need to play with his contract again, because he did manage to leave again. This time, it was to Tottenham. As you can see, he left to join Tottenham after Tottenham sacked their manager. He wasn't sacked, he just left. But hopefully now they're in the Europa League, he won't feel the need to disappear. Let's look at individual stats. So highest average rating was Rafael Leao and Phil Foden. Most assists, Phil Foden with 20 in all competitions. Look at the amount of games these players played. You can see why it was a tough season. Yeah, I can understand why it was so tough and why they really, really struggled to finish higher in the league than they did. They just had, if you look at every month, it's just packed. Every month is packed full of Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday. It's just absolutely rammed. You can understand why it's so difficult. Similar to the season Newcastle were last in the Europa League, when I think we finished 13th the season after we finished 5th. Something like that. It was a pretty big fall off. And yeah, that's very, very interesting. Liverpool have won the league this season. Manchester City down in 5th. That's pretty surprising. Bournemouth doing very well, it has to be said. But yeah, what a interesting set of results that is for Newcastle. Now, this is the penultimate season, so we're going to go ahead now to the final season to see how the Pochettino experiment, or possible hiring in real life of Mauricio Pochettino, will actually go in real life. Okay, we'll be back soon. And we're back for the final season. Pochettino at Newcastle United. Where did Newcastle finish? 8th. No Europe at all, by the looks of it. By no means. So overall, probably wouldn't say he'd been successful, considering he did get sacked in the second season. And he finished 8th in this season, when in the save that I done that wasn't Pochettino, they finished much higher than that, more regularly. Let's click in. And Pochettino is not the manager. Mauricio Pochettino got sacked a month ago. Yeah, he got sacked a month ago. And I saw it and I thought, I'm going to leave it because it's the last season. And looking at the season, it's not gone that well. The best thing they done, Europa League semi-finals, they lost to Milan 1-0 at the San Siro. And they got to here. Well, for the sake of it, we'll look at the transfer history. They brought in Hamza Chowdhury, Denis Popov, David Brooks, who then immediately left. Wow. Andreas Pereira, Christian Pulisic, Carlos Salcedo, Amer Goyak, Ahmet Demitras, very good looking young goalkeeper, and John Helwell, good young centre mid who could be a very good centre back at 6'6". On the out, David Neres left to Real Madrid. Probably halfway? Oh, at the start of the season, one of their key men. Yeah, they sold quite a few. The big Rulli, who joined for 51 million, has left for 8. It's not been, I would have to say, Pochettino at Newcastle United, according to my 5-season simulation, has had its ups and downs, but probably you would say has mostly been unsuccessful. Now, one thing that you could attribute to this is that Yasser al-Rumayyan scaled down his funding a season ago, and maybe they didn't get the funds they should have got. And Chris Hogg is the caretaker, by the way, he's not the full-time manager. And that they maybe made some bad player signings compared to in the other save, but they are still underperforming. So that's going to end it. The next episode of this series will be Steve Bruce. And what we're going to do in that is, instead of do this 5-year thing with Pochettino like we did, we're going to see how quickly Steve Bruce gets sacked, because it took Pochettino a year and a half-ish to get sacked. So we're going to see how fast it takes Bruce, and then we'll do the same for Rafa, and we'll do the same for Julian Nagelsmann, I think, as well, because they're the big ones on the list. Maybe Favre as well. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I've been Jake. If you enjoyed, please hit subscribe. And if you've really enjoyed, go follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/aberrantfc. The link will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.